Hello guys, I'm Kiri, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna talk about a French executive car, Talbot Tagora. This car was developed by Chrysler, but produced by Peugeot. Talbot was founded in 1903. In the beginning was French-English company, then only French, but in some time Chrysler get into the business, and exactly on that time the model Tagora was developed. But then in 1978, PSA Group Peugeot Citroën took over the Chrysler Europe, and actually PSA started to produce the model. Was a big car by European 1970s and 1980s standard, luxury and expensive. Was in production from 1980 to 1983, but actually the car was a fail. The expectations of the company were different. They were expecting to sell more than 60,000 cars per year, but for the 3 years production run, they sell only 20,000 units. And PSA took the decision to cancel the model. They stopped the model probably also because the model Tagora was on the same class with Peugeot 604 and Citroën CX, and probably was just mixing the water. Anyway, 3 years in production only, but the car was very special. The quality was very high, the materials as well, so really they wanted to make very expensive and executive car, the same level with Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar, and higher class than Peugeot and Citroën. In France was the most luxurious car in the early 1980s. But how we said earlier, was a bit expensive. So for 1980, the price for the top model was 11,250 British pounds, so it was a really expensive car. How you can see, is a big car with wheelbase over 2.8 meters, with 1 meter 810 millimeters, the height is just 1 meter 444 millimeters, and the length of the car is over 4.8 meters. So I'm gonna say again, for the 1970s and 80s standard was a big car. But the weight wasn't that much. Just between 1,250 kilograms and 1,350 kilograms, depends from the engine and the equipment. Now about the engine. Actually there were 3 different engines equipped with the car. Small one 2.2 liter 4-cylinder, and then 2.7 liter V6, and 2.3 turbo diesel 4-cylinder engine. The gearboxes, there were 3 types as well: 4-speed manual, 5-speed manual, and 3-speed automatic. The engine was in the front and longitudinally mounted, and of course rear wheel drive. The small capacity engine, 2.2 liter 2155cc, was equipped with Solex carburetor and producing 115 horsepower, 184 Newton meters of torque. This was, let's say, the cheap version, with 2 trim versions, GL and GLS. Actually, only here in the GLS version was available the 4-speed automatic transmission. The turbo diesel engine 2.3 liter was from Peugeot 604 or 505 and producing 80 horsepower. By the way, Peugeot diesel engines on that time were extremely reliable. But now we're gonna give attention to the bigger engine, the 2.7 liter 2664cc V6 from PRV. This engine was developed from Peugeot, Citroën and Volvo, and was very famous back on the day. Even was chosen for the very attractive car from the same time, DeLorean. The engine was equipped with 2 triple Weber carburetors and producing 166 horsepower, 234 Newton meters of torque. This was the top version Talbot Tagora 2.6, like the car in front of us. Was badged as SX because was the top trim level SX. Lots of options: electric windows, air condition, computer, even 1980 computer, luxury interior, leather or velour, and steering assistant as well, etc, etc. But wasn't available with the automatic gearbox. So this model was a little bit strange actually. This model, the top version V6 2.6 liter, was available only with the 5-speed manual transmission. Probably, I think, because they didn't have on that time some more modern automatic gearbox. That's why they decided to use only the 5-speed manual gearbox. The other very cool option was the distinctive alloy wheels, and they were in metric size, so 365 millimeters. On that time, the top tires in the world were the newly developed in 1975-1976 Michelin TRX, and most of the top cars were using these tires. Cars like Ferrari, BMW top models, Ford Mustang top models as well, Alfa Romeo, Renault Alpine, Mercedes, Citroën, the top CX versions, Peugeot, etc. etc. Of course, the most executive French car, Talbot Tagora SX, were using these Michelin TRX tires, and of course they needed special wheels in metric size. So on the end, only 1083 V6 Tagora were made, which means the car is very, very rare today. 40 years after the production, we don't know how many are in existence today from all 1083 cars, but for sure there are not many. In UK today, probably only this car survived today and is actually the top version SX 2.6. So really the car is very rare. This is special right-hand drive. Example was UK supplied, so absolutely, if this is true, this is only the car today in UK. The car is really very rare. We said early, the car was expensive. In the early 1980s, the price we're going to talk about now in Germany, the price was between 20 and 30,000 Deutsche Mark. So it depends from the model, but was more expensive than Peugeot 505 or 604, Citroën CX, Renault 30, Ford Granada. So that's why for the first 15 months in 1980-1981, they built just over 16,000 cars, or 12,000 cars for 1 year. But we said the expectations were 60,000 cars, so completely different number. So in Germany was between 20 and 30,000 Deutsche Mark, so 20,000 for the turbo diesel engine, 30,000 for the V6 engine SX, very, very luxury model. In UK, of course, between 8,000 British pounds for the cheap version, up to 11,250 for the V6 model British pounds. Then, next year, even the production went down with 80%, and of course PSA decided to stop the model. And in 1983 was produced the last Talbot Tagora. Just for reference, to say that, we said early for the 3 years production run, Talbot built just over 20,000 cars. In the same time, Peugeot built 116,000 from the 505 model and 74,000 cars from a Citroën CX just for 1 year in production. So you count this 7,000 Tagora cars per year, and on the same time 116,000 Peugeot 505 or 74,000 Citroën CX. We not mention the other rivals: Mercedes 123 series, W123, BMW E28 Series 5, Renault 30, Ford Granada, or Opel Rekord for European market, or Vauxhall, Rover 2300, Volvo 244, etc. etc. They were building really big numbers car, but Talbot just 6,000-7,000 cars per year. The journalists in UK and Europe were very critical about the car, but on the end the car was executive, luxury, lots of leg room, space inside, very comfortable, was one of the fastest car and best accelerating compared with the rivals. Talbot Tagora was on the end incredible car, and the main problem the car to fail probably was because it was launched with this name Talbot. It's executive car and probably was better to came with different name. Talbot is a great name, but from long time ago, and in the 1980s everyone forgot about the name. Wasn't in existence for decades. The other reason for the fail is of course 1970s energy crisis, which affected especially on the big luxury and sports cars. And on the worst thing is from that, what I know, the PSA group didn't advertise enough the car. This new car, the 1980s named Talbot, needed much more attention. The people needed to know about the history of the brand, about the heritage, the pedigree, because really the name Talbot was a great name. So they needed to advertise more the brand. Nowadays everyone knows about the Bugatti cars, but the story is very similar to Talbot. Bugatti stopped to produce the cars in 1950s, but before that was one of the greatest company in the world. Then in 1990s Romano Artioli tried to bring back the company where it deserved to be, but was unsuccessful, or maybe was successful, but different factors affected on that the company to close the doors. But after that, after 2000, Bugatti just recreate again to become maybe the leader today and the most prestigious brand in the world. Maybe something similar PSA should do with the Talbot brand, but anyway, the model Tagora was perfect car back in the 1980s, and today to find one is very rare. How you can see, the car is absolutely amazing. Every angle of the car is just beautifully made. So the car looks simple from outside, but actually it's very big and luxury, and you can see the car is very distinctive and luxury. Inside as well is fantastic car with lots of options. You can see everywhere this luxury style inside. So the car is really amazing, and these distinctive tires with Michelin TRX, especially developed for the Michelin TRX wheels, 365 millimeters. They were very expensive back on the day, Michelin TRX tires, and today they are very expensive. 450 pounds cost one tire of this. So really, the guy who restored this car gave lots of attention, and to bring back this car today really is a hard. But the car looks today very cool. So guys, I hope you liked the video about this very rare, maybe only one in existence in UK, Talbot Tagora. If you like, please subscribe my channel, and see you next time guys. Bye.